Hi grade 9s, we are on week 5, day 2, and we're going to be combining together the skills that you used in yesterday's work with collecting like terms or gathering like terms with x squareds, and also the skills we used last week with expanding or distributing, where we're multiplying a number into a bracket. So the first part of this lesson is review, and we're going to review those two skills independently from each other, and then we're going to look at how to use those two skills together in the next part. So the first 3 questions say expand, and I have 3 times 4x minus 5. So remember how we drew that rainbow and we wanted to look at 3 different things. We wanted to look at the signs, then we look at the numbers, then we look at the variables. So the first step is the signs. 3 and 4 are both positive, so my answer will be positive. Then I look at the numbers. 3 times 4 gives me 12. Then I look at the variables. The 4 has an x with it, so my 12 has an x with it too. The next step, 3 times negative 5. Positive times a negative, my answer will be a negative. 3 times 5, that's the numbers part, is 15. And the variables, neither one of those have any variables. So it's just a regular 15, not 15x. For B, I have negative 2 times 6x minus 11. So again, I'm going to draw that rainbow showing that I'm multiplying the negative 2 by each piece inside the bracket. Then I'm going to look at this and go through each step. Signs first. Negative 2 times positive 6. Negative and a positive make a negative. 2 times 6 is 12. And variables, it has an x with it. The next step, negative times negative makes a positive. Numbers, 2 times 11 is 22, and neither one has a variable, so it's just the number. In our last example here for C, we are going to multiply the 2 here into the first bracket, and then a negative 4 into the next bracket. So I have 2 times x minus 3. And this is something that a number of people kind of got a little stuck on when we were first doing it. Remember, if it's an x by itself, we can put a 1. That's the number in front of it if it's just an x. So positive 2 times positive 1 gives us 2. And then we've got an x. Positive 2 times negative 3. Positive and negative is negative. 2 times 3 is 6. No x's on that one. Now we've got negative 4 multiplied into this bracket. That negative is going to multiply to both pieces. So negative times positive is negative. 4 and 2 is 8. And it has an x. Now I'm multiplying negative 4 times positive 5. Negative and positive is negative. 4 times 5 is 20. You'll notice that this one is a little bit bigger of a question, and we see that we've got some like terms. So here I'm going to say I've got some terms with x's, so like that 2x and the negative 8x. And I have some terms with just numbers, so a negative 6 and negative 20. When I combine those like terms or gather those like terms, 2x take away 8x. So 2 minus 8 is negative 6x. And then again, careful with your integers. Negative 6 minus 20 is negative 26. The next one is really just looking at gathering like terms. So the first example I think is easier because this goes back to what we were doing last week. we've got 3x minus 5 plus 4x plus 7. So I see that some terms, like this 3x and the plus 4x, those are our variable terms. They have x's. And then I've got some just number terms, negative 5 plus 7. So I'm going to gather together the variable terms first. So 3x plus 4x, I get 7x, and I may color code this one for you, but you certainly don't have to do this. And then negative 5 plus 7, I get plus 2. Okay, so if it helps you to kind of circle those, to notate somehow, underline them or highlighter them if you have something like that to use to kind of show which ones are the like terms that go together. Now in E, we've got more terms here. We have 2x squared minus 4x plus 7 plus 5x squared plus x minus 3. So now I have more different kinds of like terms. I think that most people are pretty good at noticing that these ones, that the just numbers by themselves. I've got plus 7 and minus 3. The ones that we have to be careful with are these here, where I have 2x squared and minus 4x. Remember that x squared is not a like term with just an x. So I have to mark these differently. I'm going to say 2x squareds, that's a like term with plus 5x squareds. And then negative 4x, that's a like term with the plus x. And remember, if you have just an x by itself or just an x squared by itself, there is a 1. That counts as a 1. So now I'm going to go through and gather up my like terms. So I have 2x squareds plus 5x squareds. 2 plus 5 is 7. And these are x squareds. Now, one thing I did notice when we were looking at these before, sometimes people would multiply or do something with this exponent with the number out front. Nothing else changes. You're just adding the like terms like normal. 2 plus 5 is 7, and the x squared just stays the same. This squared doesn't affect the number out front at all. Then we have our x terms. I have negative 4x plus 1x. So negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3x's. So if you wanted to kind of color code these were the green ones, and these were the pink ones. And then the number parts, I have plus 7 and minus 3. So that gives me plus 4. And that's the blue. Okay. Same idea for the next one. I have x squared plus 2x plus 5 minus 3x squared plus x. Now a couple things in here. First of all, I see some x squared. So I'm going to circle those in green. Remember that the sign out front, to the left of the term, that's the one that goes with it. And here I don't have a number in front of my x squared. Remember, if you don't have a number there, it's always 1. Then I have some x terms. I see I've got a 2x term there, and I have an x here, and again, no number means that it's 1. The last one, I've got a plus 5 here, and I think we kind of get used to having like terms to go with everything. I don't have a number part in the second kind of grouping here, and that's okay. The plus 5 is just going to be all by itself with nothing to add to it. So I'm going to add these together. I'm going to do my green ones first. 1x squared minus 3x squared is negative 2x squared. So that was the green like terms that I circled in green marker. Then I'm going to do the x's. I have positive 2x plus 1 more x. So that's plus 3x. And last of all, I have my just plus 5. There's nothing to add with it, so it stays the same. And that is the first section. We're going to do some more of these where we're expanding and then collecting with like terms.